Tom Brady, when he was interviewed by several affiliation sports channels, I remember one interview that Brady had. Brady was asked the question, Tom, how were you guys able to keep your composure, and how are you all able to come back and win the game? And here's what Brady said, and I quote, he said, we were committed from the beginning to win the Super Bowl. Now that caught me, because Brady said that as the leader of the team, unquote, he and I'm paraphrasing him, he said that there were several mandatory workouts that were required. Yeah, he said that there were and you've heard these terms like OTAs. That's organized team activities, and that's when the NFL sends out a schedule, and these players have to report as an organized team, and they begin the process of working out. They begin the process of running, and they begin the process of even looking at the playbook. But that didn't catch me, y'all. Brady said that he pushed the team a little bit more this past season. He said that there were not only OTA trainings, but he also said there were OST training. He said those trainings were not in-season trainings. He said that those were off-season trainings. Y'all will catch me in a minute. He said, listen, when I look at the Super Bowl win, it wasn't the organized team activities that took place during the season. It wasn't in-season practice, but he said that we had some players who had to show up in off-season training. See, y'all, that's why the news and the media give these players a hard time, because, see, off-season trainings are not always mandatory. See, off-season training are for those players who show up even when they don't have to show up. Off-season training are for those players who want to lift weights even though the strength and conditioning coach may not be there. He said that the reason I believe we won the Super Bowl is because some players showed up even when they didn't have to show up. And come here, church, because I've learned that a lot of you are getting beat in the game of life, and the enemy is coming back after your 21-3 lead and taking control of your purpose, because you don't want to show up in the off season to work out. No, you want to show up when your bills are paid. You want to show up when your marriage is going good. You want to show up when all is well with your soul. But I believe somebody is in this room today. The reason you're able to win is because you showed up even when you didn't feel like showing up. Won't you tell your neighbor, it pays off when you show up. Tell your neighbor, you got to come to practice. You got to practice when you don't want to practice. You got to move when you don't want to move. You got to fight when you don't want to fight. You got to praise when you don't want to praise. You got to worship when you don't want to worship. You got to lift your hands when you don't know why you're lifting your hands. You got to tell God, I'll bless you at all times. And